Good day. I will introduce first myself. I am Priya Buena, 18, a college student of Rizal Technological University, who will talk about the youth of today's generation. I will tell you a story. When I was young, I always asked my parents, or usually my mom, about their childhood memories, the characteristics, or what most of the kids do in their era for me to compare the past and the present generation. When I heard the story, I know for sure how simple life is back then. You'd simply go to the school, make friends, socializing but without technology advancements. Youth are being appreciative and contented of what they have. My mom worked hard, really hard. In a young age, she earned money for her to go to the school because of poverty. We all know that. But now, there's a lot of opportunities when it comes to job, education, or even technology. We have found a new wave of communication while many adults are complaining about the time that the youth spend on their computers, iPads, or phones. But as a millennial, I am thankful to the modern technology because it's easy and it's convenient to use. And that's how communication happens today. There's a lot of disadvantage too. Part of it is some millennials do not know how to use technology or social media accounts in a proper way. The addiction and no quality to their friends and their families are happening because of the overuse of technology. While scrolling my social media account last week, I saw someone posted about the youth of today, criticizing, saying like some of youths today are disrespectful, disobedient, and dependable. For me, the attitude, nevertheless, in my opinion, I am disagree because the attitude it should start from home. It's about parenting and teaching your kids how to be a good person. And I know that you observe too that the clothes are different from the past to the present, even the music. And we all know that the youth of earlier generation didn't have Facebook, but they did have different places to hang out. And for me, it's very important because it's quality time. And even the past, present generation, we should be grateful and we should appreciate it, especially the traditions and our ancestors. Do not forget it and don't waste it easily. We should be grateful for what our ancestors done. As the gap increases, the level of criticizing also increases. I admit that as a millennial, I observe that the youth of today are being dependent to the technology, but somehow technology teaches us skills. Why am I pointing about this or why am I talking about this? Do you have any idea? It's simply because past, present, or even the next generation after us, it doesn't matter anyway. What matters is even the world is slowly changing. Do not forget how to be a good role model to everyone, especially to the next generation. And like Dr. Jose Rizal said, ang kabataan, ang pag-asa ng bayan, be the one and the rest will follow. And I believe that the youth of today is the future of tomorrow. All the opportunities when it comes to job, education, technologies, we should be grateful. And the least we can do is use it in a proper way, in a good in a good way. And do not forget that we should respect everyone and be a good role model. Thank you. That's all. I hope you learned something today. Good day.
Hi. One of the issues of the Philippines is poverty. One of the causes of poverty is all about the lack of job opportunities. First, it's all about the poverty. Poverty is concerning not having enough cash to satisfy the basic desires together with food, wear, and shelter. However, fairness is additional for more than simply not having enough cash. According the World War Organization, they describe fairness during this way. Poverty is hungry. Fairness is lack of shelter. Fairness is being sick and not have ability to examine a doctor. Fairness is having an access to high school and not knowing the way to scan. Fairness is having employment is way for the longer terms, living someday at a time. Property has several phases, dynamical from place to position across the time, and has been delineated in many ways. Most of often furnace could be scenario of folks which to flee. This furnace could be a decision to actions. For the pure and also the loaded alike a decision to vary the planet somewhere might have enough to eat, educate, shelter, access to education, and health, protection from violence, and voice in what happened in their communities. Now let's one of the issue of the Philippines is all about the poverty. One of the causes is lack of job opportunities. Um, Job employment opportunities will cause issue to people as a result of they need means not that of earning a living that fixed need. May faces issue in paying rent or maybe mortgages. This could cause condition. Moreover, the state will increase susceptibleness to issue like an illness, ill health, deficiency, disease, or mental stress, and loss of sureness and eventually depressions. Though it's identified in this factable fact that state will cause crime rates to extend attribute to the ability of the many welfare agents of the fixed slavery. On the opposite hand, state could force individual to resort to suicidal thought thanks to the lack to address the various personal issues that arise with it. Therefore, it is all over the state will cause a rise of suicide incidents during a country. However, the mix of state with lack of monetary resources and social responsibility could cause people required of workers much their career, profile of their skill. Thus, people could underutilize their potential and skill, resulting in underemployment. From a social perspective, associate economy that's produce enough job opportunities for individual faces several social issues, particular in terms in underutilization of resources, labor. State reduces the productivity of also associate economy, which might in responsibility for perhaps of the fuel tensions. Many people say people are poor because they're lazy. But for me, people are poor because of lack job opportunities. Poverty is caused by variety of issue, primary among the unemployment or low wage employment, not laziness or lack of private responsibility, far away from it. Does exist, but it's safe to mention that working poor. work long hours, often at two or more jobs for substance level compensations. Because of their income or lack of it, the fewer cannot afford healthcare, making them more vulnerable of disease, fever, like the figure full of part-time. The remedy is welfare handouts. If the acts member are demanding of their welfare reform, which does nothing to make more wage for newly hired workers. Um, Thank you.
Our country, Philippines, is ranked 13 among the countries with the highest population around the world. According to world population, we are currently 110 million and it is continuously growing. What is alarming is according to Philippine Statistical Authority in 2017, 538 babies are born to Filipino teenage mothers every single day. And on 2016, they discovered that 1 out of 10 teenage girls is being pregnant early. In fact, teenage pregnancy is now considered by NEDA as a national social emergency. This issue affects our country's development. And according to POPCOM Executive Director Juan Antonio Perez III, teenage pregnancy causes 33 billion in our economic losses. Now, what is teenage pregnancy? What are its causes? How does it affect us? And what are the solutions to this problem? And there are many causes or factors contributing to this. First is the lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge on sexual and reproductive health, contraception, and even family planning. If you ask some teenage parents questions about birth control, pregnancy, and financing, some of them don't know the answer. Second factor is peer pressure. Most of the teenagers nowadays are willing to do anything to fit in with the trend or with their friends. And these high schoolers just let their peers impact their actions and choices, especially in engaging in sexual relations. Teenagers nowadays can be easily influenced by their peers, which can lead to unwanted pregnancy. Third is the lack of parental guidance, communication, and supervision. Here in the Philippines, talking about sex education is taboo, and it's hard for the child to open up about this topic. That's why some of the teenagers doesn't have enough guidance and knowledge that they should have from their parents. We cannot deny the fact that rape, violence, and sexual abuse is present and rampant at this time, and it is saddening that sexual violence and rape sometimes lead to teenage pregnancy. Last but not the least is poverty. Poverty is one of the causes of teenage pregnancy, while teenage pregnancy is one of the causes of poverty. In what way? Poverty leads to lack of education, peer pressure, and need for doubts, while teenage pregnancy is one of the causes of poverty because teen parents are less likely to finish studying, and this could lead to less job opportunities. And this is a continuous cycle. But we should not lose hope. There are still ways on how we can prevent teenage pregnancy and solve this problem. The first solution is implement right education at the right time. We cannot deny the fact that teenagers and even children nowadays are being exposed to sexual content in different forms of media. Sex education should be taught properly, so us, the youth, should be informed about the concepts behind sex, changes in our body, and how to address it. It will also help us undergo adolescent period away from sexual temptations. Second is removing the stigma that hinders the communication between a parent or guardian and a children about sex and health education. With the proper communication, a parent or guardian will be able to guide and educate their child. Last but not the least is make a move and be the change. Each of us, even as the youth, has an important role in solving this problem. We should make our moves. We can do different activities and ways to educate not only the teenagers but also the adults around us. We are all involved in it.
Poverty quality education. A good quality education is one that provides all learners with capabilities they require to become economically productive, develop sustainable livelihoods, contribute to peaceful and democratic societies, and enhance individual well-being. High-quality education is a prerequisite for learning and human development. Quality is affected by factors both inside and outside the classroom. Everything from the availability of a teacher and teaching aids to the starting point when it comes to mother tongue language or general health, for example. Overall, securing high-quality education is a considerable challenge, particularly for countries with limited resources where educational functioning normally. Like a tree, poverty has many roots, but among the many causes of global poverty, one factor stands out: education. Not every person without an education is living in extreme poverty, but most of the extremely poor do lack as a basic education. Those living below the poverty line will also be more likely to have greater chance of living in poverty. Education is often referred to as the greater equalizer. It can open the door to job, resources, and skills that a family needs to not just survive but thrive. Access to high quality primary education and supporting child well-being is a globally recognized solution to the cycle of poverty. Three ways that education affects poverty. One is education develops skills and liabilities. A quality education system supports a child's developing social, emotional, cognitive, and communication skills. Education programs also support the development of knowledge and abilities, example, human asset. Children who receive quality primary education are more likely to develop these assets at a higher level than those who don't. They can then use this ability and skills to earn higher incomes or further develop other basic assets. Number two is education can fight inequality. Before giving people more opportunities to participate in society, we need to address some specific obstacles to participation. Often, the most vulnerable communities are not recognized as equal in their community. As a result, they lack representation, power, and status. But at an individual level, education is a basic human right for all. Education inequality is the unequal distribution of academic resources, including but not limited to school funding, qualified and experienced teachers, books, and technologies to socially excluded communities. These communities tend to be historical disadvantaged. Belonging to these marginalized groups are also denied access to the schools with abundant resources. Inequality leads to major difference in the educational success or efficiency of these individuals and ultimately suppresses social and economic mobility. And last, education can decrease risk and vulnerability. In many of the countries where we the lives and livelihoods of the extremely poor are often tied into conflict, epidemics, and natural disasters. This can act as force multipliers or elements that increase the likelihood that poverty will continue for the poorest countries. Education is the most important tool for the betterment of humanity as well as to develop modernization in civilization. Quality education enables students to develop all their attributes and skills to achieve their potentiality as human beings and members of society. Education may be one of the keys to reducing and eradicating poverty. But only quality education tailored to meet the unique needs of poor will be truly effective in this and break the poverty education cycle.
Hi everyone, I am your speaker for today. I am Jersey Joyce A. Alano, so my topic for today is all about LGBT community. So let's start. Being true to myself is one of my accomplishments. Self-acceptance is a must. Don't be swayed on what others will say. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. In short, LGBT proves that being yourself will make you glow and happy. LGBT community receives a lot of discriminations about their gender because they're in between of being a male and female. They being discriminated by the way they move, talk, the clothes they wear, and also in public restroom. LGBT community accept all the bad words they heard from the judgmental people around them. They didn't get any support from the government. Instead, you need to prove that it's not wrong to express what you feel and be true to yourself as long as you didn't hurt anyone and fall down their dignity. LGBT community shows us that don't be afraid on what others will say, but instead be happy, be true, and love yourself as you can. For what I've known, attitude, universal type of respect, not a bad person, whereas all in all being a good person is what matters the most. Yes, it's true that we are not everyone's cup of tea, but can we just let people be happy? Just let them enjoy the good things in life, regardless on what gender they're in. It's as much at the end of the day, our records that being holding by an angel what counts on. It is really that important to pertain and say what is the gender we are in. Do we really have to engage in the biological attribute rather than what make us feel free? Now, it's time to show off the colorful flag that symbolizes the freedom of each one. As a student who observed the society, I am tired of the Aling Susan type of people. If you have a Twitter account, you would get in my point. On the other hand, I am tired of the homophobic people who only want to make the LGBT community to be in vain. Let us stop being and let us just let people to be happy instead of hurting them. Also, our society's standard is too high to live in that real. That's why I respect what others do as long as it not hurt other people's dignity. I am here to encourage everyone to please have a universal respect as what Miss Universe Philippines Robbie Mateo said in one of their television interview. That is why let us try to spread love instead of war. Whereas love can reach the part where vain, fear, and angers collide. Thank you.
for today, and we're going to tackle about sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is a vital issue in our society, either from infants and even to elders and mostly at teenagers. Many of us see this issue usually on social media, and if you will observe it in a different perception of people, they will express it like sexual harassment is due to improper way of dressing, and the other is like whatever you wore. If a man is respectful, then the way of clothing won't matter. But whatever woman wore, she should be respected because the way we dress is not the totality of ourselves. In the Philippines, only few of sexual harassment are publicized and we usually hear it on news. Republic Act Number 7877, also known as the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995, ensure that both of men and women must not be sexually harassed and they must value the dignity of every individual, enhance the environment of each human resource, guarantee full respect for human rights, and uphold the dignity of workers, employee, applicants, employment, students, or those undergoing trainees, instructor, or educator, which mean that all humans should be treated with respect in the society. One of the articles about this issue from a Pista Global writer by Elbern Cruz entitled Mepu and Sexual Harassment in the Philippines, which is moved to avoid sexual harassment, but the finding in the Philippines is quite alarming as it revealed that 3 women have experienced being sexually harassed and it happened in day and in a public place. Imagine, the sun was bright and many people can witness it, but still some men have the guts to do it. And one of the 2 people chose to stay silent because of fear. Another issue was the infant being raped, a 4-month-old. Baby was raped by a 32 years old man. Imagine the pain of a 4-month-old baby experience. According to the survey, 88% of sexual harassment victims are aged 18 to 24, and 70% of them comes from total strangers, and 58 are experienced in street, major roads, and skinitas, and 70% are experienced during day. Some people blame sexual harassment on women's outfit, which is quite true the reason of being sexually harassed, like catcalling. A question to Cora by someone named Pia Sari wrote something like why it's a big deal to see someone's wearing a pencil skirt. Why a man need to comment to her for having a nice butt and seductive. It made her uncomfortable, but when she dressed decent, it was avoided. So there's really a chance to be harassed by wearing too revealing clothes. Women are really prone for being sexually harassed, but if clothing are the reason, then why there are infant and child victims? Maybe to avoid it, it's good to wear decent clothes, but it's not applicable all the time. Be extra careful, and whenever you experience it, tell it to someone who has authority because no matter what people wear, no matter what age or status we are, we women deserve to be respected.